I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive, right? And I'm grateful for that. But it's all grace. I had a sponsor for years who would just say, is it love or fear? Am I acting out of love or am I acting out of fear? And if I couldn't tell him how it was love,
It was fear.
it was fear. People are dying, waiting to get into treatment, or just give up. Well, I can't wait 14 days. So the last time I used it, I was in a hotel room with 3 homeless guys, and I'm watching the Playboy channel. Everything's out on the table, and I'm drinking and doing some other stuff. And I just had this moment of clarity, like, this isn't what I signed up for. This is awful. It's not marijuana as a gateway drug. Childhood trauma is. And if real service is, I don't tell anybody. Real service is I go do something, not for the external validation, which is a whole drug of itself, right? But for just the beauty of, I care about somebody in this moment, right? I'm so grateful. I want to do this for somebody else.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson.
Welcome to Powerful Beyond Measure, a podcast about radical transformation, gritty stories, and the undeniable power of second chances. I'm your host, Matt Culp, a man in long-term recovery who believes in the power of grace, grit, and growth. Each week, we sit down with real people who've overcome real struggles, from addiction to adversity. No fluff, no filters, just truth, healing, and hope. The truth is, you were powerful beyond measure, and it's time you knew it. Today, our guest is Sam MacMaster, and usually what we do is just kind of figure out like where you're from, what your childhood went like, where you live now, and then kind of like pretty much like a recovery story, what happened, what it was like, what it's like now, and then usually what'll happen is I'll have questions, and then afterwards we'll kind of like talk about it or kind of spitball. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here, and I like the grace, grit, and what was the third one?
Grace, grit, and growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Grace, I think, is the most important concept in recovery, or at least in my experience.
Yeah.
So
it took me about 6 or 7 years to really accept grace. It was weird. I thought I had to earn it.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I didn't think I was worthy.
I'm not worthy, exactly, because we not directly, but also often indirectly, we begin to believe that.
Yeah. I don't think I was worthy of the recovery. Yeah. Like the God's grace or whatever. So it really took me a long time. I thought I had to earn my way into his graces pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird situation.
Was just with some friends talking about half measures, right?
Yeah.
And then my frustration is it's not my measures, right? It's just grace. I'm here because of grace. Right? I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive. Right? And I'm grateful for that. But it's all grace. Right? It's, we have to turn our will and our life over. Right? It's, whatever your higher power is, it's a God thing.
Yeah.
And I forget that sometimes. And I go, well, look what I did. Right? I did these full measures. Right? I did these 5 things.
Yeah.
And when I start to do that, I lose focus. And
my old sponsor used to say, it's our job for effort. It's his jobs for results, which is a grace comment. I'm supposed to show up and do what I'm supposed to do, but it's not my business what happens. It also helps me with like sponsoring or like a man in my life. Like it's none of my business how they recover or like how I don't have like really that much sway over them.
no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I start thinking I'm powerful again, or that I can fix people. Right.
Yeah.
How do I show up and serve and not fix, right? I really want to fix people because I've got great opinions. Nobody's ever asking them for them, but they're incredible. I got great ideas, and the reality is I need to take a look at myself. What is my side of the street? Great at taking your inventory, right? Often not great at taking mine.
Yeah.
And when I start taking other people's inventory, I want to fix them. And that's, one of my biggest struggles, right? Because if I accept grace, I got to give you grace too. And I can't judge you and love you at the same time.
I know.
And I'm judging people all the time, including myself.
I did this spiritual exercise back in 2020, I think 2020. Pretty much my sponsor had me I had Post-it notes everywhere in my life, but he had me identify and say out loud, or at least in my head, in my soul, every time I had judgment. And then I was able to add people to the experiment. So for about a year, I'd be standing in a crowd, someone would go, judgment. And I go, son of a bitch. Right. Yeah. I'm standing in line at, Kroger, and, the lady's got a check out, why does she have a check? And I'm just judgment, Yeah. And it really showed me how often we show up with that attitude about people and the people around us. And it's always, it's childish. I'm bigger. They're smaller. I'm stronger. They're not. I'm better. I'm right. They're wrong. It's a black and white.
Yeah.
He was trying to get me to practice more of a non-dualistic, or dualistic or non-dualistic point of view, and having judgment around, it's really bringing home the childish point of it. It's what kids say when they're, I'm 8.5. He's 8.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. What time's your bedtime? Right. What kind of shows are you allowed to watch at your house? Yeah. So we all become kids, right? And it's, who do I become when I start judging things? Right. And what do I miss out because I judge stuff? And that's the piece that if I'm able to offer grace and I'm in good shape. I had a sponsor for years who would just say, is it love or fear? What are your intentions? It doesn't matter what your behavior is, what your thought, what are your intentions behind all this?
Is it love or fear?
Am I acting out of love, right? Or am I acting out of fear? And if I couldn't tell them how it was love,
it was fear.
It was fear. So we'd unpack, well, I'm afraid that, they're going to get something I want. They're going to, I want to be bigger, right? I want to be better. I want to be, I'm uncomfortable with who I feel I am. So I need this external thing to let me know that I'm different, better, stronger, faster, whatever. So
when I sponsor guys and we go through the inventory process, and maybe I got it from Steve L. maybe, but he does a great speak thing on step 4. Pretty much we're going to use paper because that's what they tell us to use, and we're going to write a name and skip a line because that's what they're telling us to do, and but it's asking what did it affect? Personal relations, sex relations, pocketbook, ambitions, and he maybe he says this. I'm not sure if I stole it or if I, but I'll give it to him. But he said, and if you don't know what it is, you can call me and I'll tell you if it's your self-esteem.
Right.
Yeah. It's always your self-esteem.
And my self-esteem is often based running out of fear and not love.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. Yeah. Doing that 4-step is a big deal, right? How many people hey, go get a notebook, make some lines, right? I had 2 guys a couple years ago. One's now dead. He had a notebook, he had some lines in it, and had been bouncing around for a long time and never did it. And ended up overdosing.
He never did it.
Never did it. Yeah. Another guy that been around for a long time had a notebook, some lines in it. We'd talk about it. He'd bring his notebook, right? And still clean, but he's in prison for some decisions he made.
I think you told me about him at that retreat we were at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just real grateful that's not me, right? Because I got enough pain that I was willing to put some stuff on paper and to continue to put stuff on paper. But it's real difficult to pick up. We talk about the 1,000-pound phone, right? I think also the 1,000-pound notebook is the bigger piece. And there are a lot of people running around staying sober. Their lives are way better, right?
Yeah. I have a guy that I sponsor. He's been on his 4-step for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not alone. You just happen to know him, right?
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
And who am I to judge?
Yeah,
Going back to what we just talked about.
That's him.
You're sober. Your life is better, right? I'm sure it is. It could be better.
His life is better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what I want. But his life is better.
It's not what you want for him.
Well, it's not what I want for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I often want things for people that they may not want, and then I got to let go of that, because the same God that I'm accepting all this grace from, I've got to assume that's going their way too.
I think that well, I'm going to give Susan credit, but she really elaborated to me after arguing and yelling and bitching and moaning and us not getting along around what social model is.
Mm-hmm.
And like how it operates in recovery housing and social model. She pretty much was like, well, AA is a social model. Does your sponsor make you do XYZ? And I was like, my sponsor does, but no, he really doesn't. He has a life that I want, and if I want what he has, I'll take his suggestions. Mm-hmm. So like looking at both sides of like recovery process and recovery residents and like operating in a social model environment, it's really helped me understand how to help people at a better level, and it's not my business. Like
none of my business.
Yeah, like
none.
How they recover and how they come to the place of desperation has nothing to do with me. Most of the time, humans, people in recovery, raise the bottom and not lower the bottom. Like we want to jump in and save, and like that's not the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and until you're ready, why are we even talking? I can love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my job. Like in social model and sponsorship, it's like I'm gonna love you until you're ready, and then like some 12-step fellowships, like the one I'm a part of, it has like more of a model of, well, do you need a ride to the bar? Like it's more of a let's find the bottom for you. Mm-hmm. Not everybody operates in that space, but in general, they're more apt to like, I mean, if you don't want to do the work, I mean, why are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you showed up to this meeting,
Yeah. And then I get confused about my professional self and my personal self.
Yeah.
Right. And if we're talking about my recovery, I'm responsible anytime, anywhere somebody asks, right?
For help. Yeah.
Not their mother asking for help, not their employer, not their probation officer. Anytime they ask for help, then I'm responsible in my personal life, right? In my professional life, that's totally different, right?
How do you think you explain a little further?
I think we need to make services as available as possible with as low a threshold as possible. And
to barrier to get in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I spent a decade of my life getting super involved in harm reduction, doing needle exchange, because I have this love-hate relationship with treatment. I've always loved recovery. Joy of my life, or my wife, my kids. I love basketball, but I really love recovery, and all those things are possible because of that. And but recovery and treatment are two different things, and I get confused. And people get mandated treatment all the time. They didn't ask for this.
That's true.
Right. And eventually they might stick up their hand and go, yeah, I need help.
Yeah. Right. I really need it this time.
Mostly I want the pain to go away. Right. Mostly I want to keep my job. I want him to be happy, but I'm afraid of what I'm going to lose or what I've lost. And, 10, 15% of people are coming in because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I guess when you brought up low threshold to get in recovery in general, I guess my thought, I mean, maybe I was talking to somebody about it, or maybe someone said, and I kind of agreed, but it's great that there's so much availability. And really, in the state of Tennessee, there's low availability compared to some other places, like for everybody. Like for commercial and like in-network, out-of-network, there's a lot of availability. But like when you think of indigent clients, there's not a lot of availability. That's why there's grants written at the moment, and people have those hospice or what are they called? Respite beds. Yeah, hospital rooms. I didn't even know what they were until
Yeah,
I had never heard of that. But
yeah, I stole that idea from New Hampshire.
Yeah,
and we opened the first one here in Tennessee with a group called My Father's House. And
I didn't know
get
that.
a grant only because out of frustration.
Because you got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, we had an indigent care program, and it's a 14-day wait list. Well, people are dying.
Yeah,
waiting to get into treatment, or just give up. Well, I can't wait 14 days.
I guess the flip side of the coin is what I was asking, or what I was trying to get to is, I guess somebody had brought up that there's so much availability to treatment that people move and exchange within those programs, and there is like a flip side to so much availability. You like I pick up the phone and boom, I'm in treatment tomorrow.
Yeah, if I have a good insurance, I have fire PPO from Aetna, right? So, and I've got resentments and scars that from all of that. I think you mentioned Susan. I love Susan. I love talking about the history of treatment with Susan.
Yeah,
and I miss her, and yeah, God bless her. I was at a meeting and somebody described this sweet woman. Took me to my first meeting. I realized I really had to get over my resentment about some stuff and just remember her as a sweet woman, because I do. I love the crap out of her. Love sitting on her back porch and her smoking cigarettes and talking about treatment.
That's where I loved her. Like, I mean, we, as a committee and being a part of the nonprofit, there was a lot of like ruffles and like, but on the back porch,
she's at her best. And if you could catch her, and there are a lot of people like that, and grab the old timers while they're still here. And she had wisdom and history and a sweetness and a caring for women who couldn't find recovery. And she opened her program Yana years ago out of the resentment there wasn't a program for women. Well, okay, cool. And I think that approach of I'm mad this doesn't exist, and we can run around and be mad, or we can just go help open whatever that needs to be, and what's the solution. So love talking history of treatment with her. But I mean, I'm so dang old now. I got clean in 1988. And were you around in 1988, Matt?
I was a thought.
You were just a thought. God damn it. Awesome. All right. So, well, Pappy's going to tell you some stories. I'm going to take a moment and just soak that in.
Let that sit in.
Yeah. You were not alive in 1988. So 1988 is the high water mark for treatment. And every hospital had a chemical dependency unit in 1988.
Okay.
Because they could get 30 to 45 days of a hospital stay for something called chemical dependency. And there was a chemical dependency unit for adults, 28 or 30 days, and a 45-day program for adolescents.
Considered as medical care.
Medical care. Inpatient, in hospital, right? And that ran for a while, and there were programs all over the country. 88 was kind of the high water mark. More programs were opened. There was a book called The Top Residential Programs. Okay. Came out in 1988. By 1998, most of those programs are closed.
Really?
Because something else got invented, which was managed care. And managed care went in and went, oh, hey, these don't really work. Like, most people don't stay clean. They compared outpatient and inpatient rates. Forget that these are two different groups of people, right? There are people that need detox versus I got a job and I'll come 3 nights a week. And went, there's no difference in outcomes. So we're going to close all the chemical dependency units. We're not going to support those. And
because they're ineffective, or because it's not cost effective?
Bingo. Right. So the insurance companies were spending a tremendous amount of money on chemical dependency units.
Yeah, medical care.
Medical care. Yeah, exactly. And managed care came in and said, we can save you money. And one of the first places they looked at was behavioral health, and specifically these treatment centers. Or these treatment units in hospitals. They all closed, and or not all of them. There were a few that kind of hung on. And then we moved to outpatient, and people in two places, California and Florida, figured out that if you had an outpatient program, some sober living houses, you could create a residential-like setting. And that's where that was born. And depending on if you're East Coast or West Coast, much like old hip-hop music, you either call it the California model or the Florida model. And there was really limited oversight of that because it was so much cheaper for the insurance companies to pay for the outpatient care.
They were just approving it.
They were just approving it because, we're saving, bajillion dollars as compared to putting Sam or Matt in.
I mean, kind of it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe there's probably a portion between that model and then residential, and then them figuring out that doesn't work, and then moving into PHP. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, and again, it's cost effectiveness.
Yeah.
Right. So we're looking at cost all the time, and that's where I kind of lose my mind. Right. And
well, you can get a longer term continuum of care at a PHP level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only consistent predictor of outcomes on whether we get sober or not in treatment is length of engagement.
Okay.
How long does somebody stay connected? Not how long do they stay in a bed. How long do they stay in recovery housing? How long were they engaged and connected? And there's a threshold of a year. So we've got to provide services to somebody for minimally a year, probably 18 months, maybe 2 years. Yeah. Not that but they're connected. We've created a community. We've created some healing, a place where they can be themselves. And
does it have to be that treatment service provider that creates the connection? Or like, say you come to a town and go to a PHP program and you get involved in a 12-step fellowship. Now you have a home.
Yeah, it's beyond 12 steps. So 12 steps are really sort of the informal. Those are free, but connected to some kind of service, right?
But that would be considered like connected. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really a professional service of some kind. So
like
you go to counseling, you go to everybody's got an alumni group, but as much as I want to eat pizza and sit around and tell you about how many AA meetings I went to this week, we really need to make alumni continuing care.
Yeah.
And insurance companies should be paying for it, right? It shouldn't be a way to capture people when they relapse, right? Which drives me crazy. But it really should be.
You said it, not me.
I know. There you go. I have great intentions to get warped sometimes in my life. But yeah, and that becomes the sales pitch because insurance companies don't cover that. And I'm not mad at insurance companies; they're a business, right? And then they started covering residential treatment again under the Parity Act, right? And that was the next boon for treatment 20-some years later. And then we came around where people had to carry their 18 to 26-year-old on their insurance. Well, that was a group that never got treatment. If you were a young adult, you were pretty much screwed in terms of treatment access.
Well, I mean, I know your story, but you got sober young. But
yeah,
when I was, I've been in and out of treatment in recovery rooms since I was about 14. Yeah. Up until I was 18, 20. So 2008 to 2010, the room was old.
Yeah.
Every treatment center was old. Old people, young people were not there.
They weren't there because they didn't have insurance. And there wasn't even a culture
think about
of putting
that.
people in treatment. Yeah, it's all
all
the money, man.
I thought more. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
I thought more along the lines of, heroin hit the East Coast in 2007, 2008.
People weren't doing cocaine or meth before that.
Yeah, but I feel like it hit a younger population.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it became more accessible. Like, like naturally heroin in the 90s, 80s, it was like black tar. And like, then they moved to like the white China and people started snorting it. So that means, which was on purpose, like that means suburban kids, younger kids are able to snort it. And then it kind of, that hit.
Yeah, so at least in Nashville, China White was big.
Yeah.
And it was the only people that were using heroin were like this group of Vietnam veteran guys who either got on it when they were in Vietnam or kind of they happened to be in that age cohort and that's what their friends had experienced. And that was who was using it. And occasionally you'd see people use it around Music Row or whatever. But you had to really go out and
track it
down. But you had to be part of this subculture. Mm-hmm. I came to Nashville in 99, and there were a lot of guys who were contracting HIV. and we're suddenly scared, like, oh, hey, people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm aging out. Like, I may be 50, but I look like I'm 70. My veins are collapsing. I've got infection,
Yeah.
Let me go get some help. And a lot of the services were really oriented around kind of end-of-life care as much as anything else.
I could see that, yeah.
And we had a project to help folks get treatment specifically to heroin users. We couldn't find any heroin users, really. It was really difficult.
When was this?
2000, 2001.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Pain pills were big. We could, but heroin itself was not big in Nashville. And then all of a sudden, with the OxyContin epidemic, it just took off, and it was meth and OxyContin. It wasn't in Nashville. It was more kind of in the rural areas surrounding Nashville. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly that was in Nashville, and then heroin came in. And that's when it moved to black tar. And black tar was messing up people's veins quite a bit. And then folks, if you had money, you could access China White. But there were these sort of two different distribution groups that were providing that. But and then it's just been off and running.
When did they start doing the up until 26, the child policy practically? Not child, but younger adult could get into treatment. When did that happen?
So Obamacare went in. I'm not going to give you the exact date because it's not going to be.
Correct.
Was it 08, 09, 010, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
The Disparity Act had nothing to do with Obamacare. That was two different senators from each party got together and created that because they were so frustrated with what had happened with insurance companies just not funding behavioral health care. And they would carve that out and create a separate managed care that basically you couldn't get care. It's why most therapists now only accept cash because the insurance companies don't really pay for it in the way that they should, the way that they could.
Yeah.
And the same thing with treatment. So at that point, there were some nonprofits that ran treatment centers, and kind of every city had a nonprofit. Ours was Cumberland Heights.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And then there were programs for people that didn't have funding, that would have grant funds.
Every city or every big city? Like
every big city, yeah. Not every city, but every region had, for Tennessee, it was Cumberland Heights. There wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah, that's about it.
There were some other nonprofits that served other segments. Elam Center is 50 years old.
Cadis,
yeah, you can kind of go through, everybody had something, right?
Mm-hmm. But that was about it.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like anywhere from 5 to 10 like places, prior up until, I don't know, 2010, 2011?
2011, 2012, 2014.
People just started figuring out that Nashville was a market to be in. And it's getting worse.
Yeah, so we would put people on airplanes and send them to Florida or California. I got hired to work with a lot of those programs to help design programming, to measure outcomes. And I would get really angry about two things. One, I was from Tennessee, and I'm originally from Virginia, as if there's a difference. But being from Tennessee and in California, people would go, oh, you're from Tennessee. And they'd talk a little slower and point as much as they'd talk. But also, they would go, hey, we got a guy from Tennessee. Maybe you know him. As if, Tennessee is,
everybody knows.
There's 30 people here and we all know each other. And it would piss me off because occasionally I would know them and then I would just be mad. But folks who did well stayed there.
Okay.
And they did sober. They went to treatment. They did sober living. They kind of created a life, got a get well job, particularly young adults. And there was a culture there of treatment. And same thing in Florida. And when people came back, they typically relapsed because there wasn't a culture of treatment. There wasn't kind of the sober living that we have today.
We're still not. Compared to California and Florida, there's some bad things, pros and cons of those, the Florida model, the California model, but we're not. At Tennessee, we're way behind the ball. It's like people move to California. I had a guy on yesterday, moved to California, was in treatment for long-term care. Mm-hmm. He ended up going to sober living for long-term. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for his, getting his wife back, he wouldn't be back, Yeah. But he expressed, very high, California was different, recovery-wise. It kind of depends where you get sober.
Right. I got.
Yeah. But the continuum of care is so much longer out there, and, the model for recovery residents to get funded is different, and we're just behind the ball.
Yeah, or just the expectations, right? There's sort of a cultural norm of, oh, okay, well, I did my year, here's my get well job, I'm functioning. but also have all the support. Just going back to that, what's the predictor of outcomes, right? It's length of engagement, and it's about a year, and we don't create that continuum for folks.
How do you measure engagement at a treatment model for data? Like, because that's how you're collecting, like, this is a good pinpoint of this is how we're going to collect data on, but what classifies engagement, Like,
now you're asking me to be a researcher.
To me,
so I'll put my research hat on.
I mean, to me, an alumni app or alumni meeting, to me, is not engagement. But I'm sure that it's
tried really hard.
I'm sure that it's a marker for it.
It is, yeah. So that's certainly a marker. And again, it's not engagement with a treatment center. Most treatment centers are in the business of providing detox and residential and sometimes PHP treatment.
Yeah.
Some of them have a network of outpatient programs. Most of them don't. And the highest paying and least effective level of treatment is detox and residential, right? And it's all based on medical necessity. Recovery and then recovery services begin with outpatient care, which is still medical necessary.
Okay.
And then continuing in from PHP. So you're there basically all day. It's basically day treatment. You do IOP, and you do IOP 5 to IOP 3 to IOP 2 or 1.
To OP.
OP, you go once a week, and then you continue to see somebody. So that level of service engagement, are you engaged in some kind of level of professional services? And more common in areas are recovery support services. Do I have somebody who's acting almost like a coach, or if you have insurance, or a case manager if you don't, right? It's the same kind of service, but somebody who's kind of navigating, not as a sponsor or a 12-step member, but somebody who's going, hey, let's get you ready for a job, and let's talk about what's going on with your relationship. And
sounds like it would be a great thing for therapists to be, because therapists are in every city, and everywhere. It seems like they would be accessible for insurance, if that was the case. Like, if continuum care is needed, well, you go back to Bulls Gap, Tennessee, like, there's a therapist there, it's close, but there's probably not an IOP office.
right.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess IOP is kind of took over, like, okay, we're going to do virtual. But, I mean, for me, I'm not engaged in a virtual IOP like I am with my therapist.
Right, I'm folding laundry, or I'm
Dude, I've
cooking
heard some
dinner,
horror stories.
right? Or the camera's off because I'm not even in front of the camera.
This lady told me at this IOP that they're trying to get off the ground, but they were doing virtual, and some lady did a drug deal on the virtual.
Yeah. So during COVID, everybody hurried up and opened a virtual IOP. I think our entire group was drunk. They were getting something out of it, but quite a few of them, I know, we're not doing real well, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is they were showing up, and I think sometimes just showing up is helpful. But again, virtual is low threshold. I'm not crazy about anything virtual. I think there's something about sharing the same oxygen. We could be doing this by Zoom, but hey, we're sharing oxygen. I can see how you're moving, et cetera, and get a sense of what's going on. So
some people, I guess younger people probably could, I don't know if this is true, but maybe they would engage
just
more.
Another age comment, Matt. Okay.
I mean, I'm with you in this one. They're like, can we just hop on a Zoom? I'm like, no.
It's just, my kids don't think I work. So my middle son often tells me I just drink coffee and eat lunch with people. But I really think there's something, I do. But I really do think there's something about breaking bread and connecting.
I do too, yeah.
That recovery is all about connection. But I think we are so desperate and crave that at just a cellular level. And I think that I can certainly connect with you and send text messages, but there's something beautiful about sitting down and eating, or sitting down and have a cup of coffee.
I was at this, I used to do YPAWs, right? Don't tell anybody. Okay. Heavily in it. And there's this Asian guy. I'm not sure exactly which, maybe China. But he was part of like YPAW, and they were trying to get the international there. So he would go to all of them. Mm-hmm. But I was in a meeting with him, and we'd have to translate like on the phone. But what was cool is he shared in this meeting that I was at. And I could feel what he was saying, going through. Just, it was like a voice of the heart, you know?
Yeah.
It was a cool experience.
Man,
I'm sure, have you ever been to, I'm sure you have, but meetings like outside the country?
Yeah, I because I got sober, I've had an incredible life, and I've had incredible opportunities. I've been to a meeting on every continent except for Antarctica, right? I've not been to Antarctica yet, but my daughter keeps showing me their boat rides or whatever. I don't know that I need to drop that kind of cash to check a box.
Is it that expensive?
It seems like a hassle. You got to fly to the end of Chile and get on a boat.
How do you do a meeting? You'd have to take
right. You have to take the meeting there. I'm not, I get weird, There are 5 basketball arenas in the NBA I haven't been to, so I've got that bucket list. But
okay,
they're kind of weird things like that. But I've been to meetings all over the world, and some of my best experiences have been there. I was in Portugal 2 years ago, and I went to a meeting. I thought it was going to be in English. It was in Portuguese. And I was there with 2 of my friends who also didn't speak Portuguese. The meeting's the same, right? You knew who was speaking.
Yeah.
You knew, okay, this is the serious guy. Oh, this girl keeps getting up and getting caught. Yeah. Oh, okay.
This dude hates the meeting.
This guy hates the meeting, right? This guy's following her to go get coffee, right? And, this is the end of the meeting, and this is the guy who thinks he's important, who's going to drop some knowledge.
Yeah.
And then they stopped and they went, oh, wait, I think we have some visitors here who don't speak Portuguese. Would you guys like to share? And I'm like, dang nabbit, why didn't you guys speak English at least part of the time? But I also went to a meeting in China where everybody around the table was from somewhere else. And it was so impactful to me that 80 odd years ago in Akron, Ohio, there were 2 drunks who got together, right?
Yeah.
And just what has been the impact of that? I get very excited about that kind of stuff. I worked in the Caribbean for a while, and I just love the accent when people do the readings, and it almost seems completely different. I was in, I'll just go on and on. I was in Ghana a while ago. They had the traditional readings, and a whole bunch of other readings, and just it's all the same, man. We forget we're all human beings. We're all doing recovery. And just that connection that you have. I may not know whatever your life is. I used to go to a meeting where people go, hey, family, right? Hey, I'm Sam, blah, blah, blah. And they would go,
hey, family.
Hey, family. And, but that's who my spiritual family is, even if I haven't met them. You walk in a room and go, that's all I wanted, right? I use drugs and alcohol just to go, I get to go to a meeting, and just walking in, you just get that relief and just a connection. Right? Here's some people that I may not believe anything that you believe, but we have this shared experience, and we believe something around this 12-step experience.
My daughter, she was like, I don't have any family. We don't have any family, I have a stepsister, like blood, like very limited family. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but like we have a huge family. Like you have so many uncles, like that, like, Uncle Mike and Uncle Nick and Uncle Dom, and like all these people in your life. Like we have a family, like I have a bunch of kids. Yeah. I have 150 kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Who love you differently, right? And you're able to love them differently than sometimes the family of origin we came from. And, and in some ways it's easier, right? I'm willing to give those people grace a lot more than I am my family. Yeah.
I think interchangeable, like those people taught me how to love my family better, and my family taught me how to love them better. Yeah, because I think my family taught me how to love them, like love on them, like physically, and tell them I'm proud of them, and like, that way. But then these people taught me how to love my family in a more unconditional manner, because I have so much empathy for this situation. Like, you went out and drank, like, well, you're powerless. Like, I mean, that's, it don't have nothing to do with me,
I still got to go back and love my family. Still got to do that.
Still got to do that.
And I had 2 really impactful people in my life. One was a best friend, and he and I ran together for years. His name was Andre. Andre had a funeral. There were 500 recovering people that showed up.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. They had visitation, and they were, because of just who he was, there were people that were homeless on the street showed up with her and just sat at his body and just cried. I mean, it was very touching, unbelievable. His kids didn't come. And it messed me up.
I don't want to be that AA, you know.
I don't want to be that guy. And I love Andre, right? Yeah. And Andre was able to create a connection and provide love to folks. And there were extenuating circumstances. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Does it make sense?
We hurt the people closest to us.
But I also, you know, and some people I think couldn't have made it if, you know, I know they love their dad, right? But they didn't come. His mom came and some other folks came. But, and I walked away going, man, what am I doing with my life? My kids were little at that time and just, I want to be a better dad.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be my legacy. It's too easy for me to love recovering people. And it's too easy for me to show up and go, hey, I'm Sam, and blah, blah, blah. It's really difficult.
Oh, hell, Sam. Oh,
yeah,
Sam.
As much as I want that. But the reality is I've got to show up and love the people in my family because that's the next right thing. And sometimes because I don't want to, right? I had a sponsor for 25 years, and he had a whole bunch of kids, and some of them didn't come, and a lot of them didn't come, actually. And he was talking about how, at the end of his life, how frustrated he was about that. And just, you know, he'd healed some relationships, and some weren't totally healed. And he looked, you know, your kids are my legacy. Oh, shit, right?
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but also he'd been giving me parenting advice, not from his experience, but also like, I wish I'd done this.
Okay, yeah.
I wish I hadn't been drinking when my kids were little. I wish I hadn't been physically abusive in front of them or to them. And let me tell you why this is important, right? And sometimes we can learn from others' brokenness in the way that we get to be whole. Right? And let me show up and love my kids, right? And as they are, because the other thing is they're not going to, you want to talk about powerlessness and wanting to fix people. And
they're going to do what they're going to do.
They're going to do what they're going to do, right? And you know, all of my kids do stuff that, man, okay, right? Still got to love you, right? And as they've become adults, it's up to them. Right? And my job is to support and love them and support and love my family of origin. And they're not going to, don't get to fix them.
What about some experience around early recovery for you, getting sober?
Yeah. Now, go tell your story now that we've gotten the small talk out of the way. I got sober on March 17th, 1988. Matt, you weren't alive yet, so go screw yourself. So that was 37 years ago. I'm 56 years old, and incredibly fortunate, not only for the opportunity, but also for the pain that I was willing to show up. And I was kind of enough of a jerk that I got sober on a resentment, really. They dropped me off at a homeless shelter, gave me the AA schedule and told me that I could come back if I got serious when I was older. Clearly, I'd impressed them with my brilliance while in treatment. And it made me mad enough that I went to a meeting every day, because they also gave me these little postcards before computers that I had to send in every week as a follow-up. And I did some outpatient aftercare as a resentment as well. And I think I just dropped out of that as well. I was not a good patient. I bounced around a lot. In my grandiosity, I've said a couple things about my story that every once in a while I go, well, that's not true, right? But it makes a better story. So I bounced around and been to some meetings. I lived in Ocean City, Maryland, which sounds great. And I'm 18 years old, living at the beach. In July and August, it kind of was. But everybody went home in September. Ocean City, Maryland's cold, and they kind of roll everything up. And I started being referred to, sent to, suggested meetings in outpatient, et cetera, early on. The first meeting I went to, I got scared because I felt so comfortable. And somebody told the story about the three-eyed man, that he'd spent his entire life with three eyes. Then finally he went to a meeting where everybody had three eyes and he felt normal. And there's a level of trauma bonding that we go through and go, oh, yeah, I'm home. There were some younger people there, but most of it was old, bald guys with gray beards. And I was really sure I wasn't one of them. I stuck around long enough now that I am. So the gifts of recovery continue. But the last time I used was on March 16th. My sobriety date is March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day. And, you know, it's a rainy, cold, windy day at this beach. There's an ocean. And in my mind, my addiction lives in fantasy. And whether that's alcohol or drugs or anything else, I just create a story in my head that I want to chase. And for a long time, I thought if I drink or use, beautiful women are going to show up and want to spend time with me. It was just, and I was struggling to try to not, blah, blah. Not that that had ever really been my experience. Mostly I passed out in your car, blacked out, and probably peed myself because that's all very sexy, right? But I had this fantasy. And so the last time I used it, I was in a hotel room with 3 homeless guys, and I'm watching the Playboy channel. Matt, for those of you that are your age, the Playboy channel predates internet porn. So I was watching the Playboy channel with 3 dudes. Everything's out on the table, and I'm drinking and doing some other stuff. And I just had this moment of clarity, like, this isn't what I signed up for. This is awful. And I got back to where I was, and somebody put me in a car the next morning, and I ended up in a treatment center. I used to say that I woke up in a treatment center because that sounds more dramatic. I had a car ride. I was fully conscious, and I often want to make my recovery story greater than it is, even though it's kind of cool just by itself. But I'll add stuff like, oh, I woke up in a treatment center on St. Patrick's Day, right? And then just because I was there, I was telling everybody I was Irish. My last name's MacMaster. That's Scottish. I got some Irish in me, but I'm not Irish. So they kept saying, oh, you're Catholic, Irish, and alcoholic. And I went, yeah, I'm CIA. But I was just wanted attention really badly and was really craving that. Treatment was just odd, right? It's an odd experience to go into a treatment center. And I just turned 19.
What about it was odd for you?
I was young. There were a lot of adults there. Mm-hmm. It was an adult program. I knew I had a problem. Like I knew the first couple times I drank. Like I'm having a different experience than some of my peers. But I was scared. What does this mean? And I'm too young, etc. Somebody talked about people pleasing. It was kind of a cool program. It was this house in Maryland, and it was somebody had pulled a favor for me to go, but it was probably a state program, and it was also the place where people from Bethlehem Steel were there. So guys would show up, they would pee dirty at their work, so they'd be in their total steel worker outfits and just show up at this place. So I learned a lot about Bethlehem Steel when I was there. So that was interesting. There were some airline pilots. And then there was me and a bunch of other people that, not doing great, right? And I'd never been in a group before. I'd never had counseling before. The one cool thing they did is almost everybody there was in recovery. And we would have a lecture. And then the last 15 minutes, they'd tell a little bit of their story. And one of the guys talked about how incredibly cool he was. And I'd spent, I'm 19. Everybody wants to be cool when they're 19. But I'd made a lot of decisions based on what you thought of me. And I lived at a beach because I wanted you to think I was cool. And he talked about, he had moved here and done this. And he asked somebody in the group, we stand over here, okay. So guy got up and stood and everything. He goes, well, will you kind of sit down, squat down a little bit? He's like, okay. We put your ear on the floor. And the guy just kept doing whatever he asked. And he said, we're all people pleasers. Right? We're all people pleasers, drugs and alcohol.
Well, that was embarrassing to that guy.
Embarrassing that guy. But it was incredible. Thank God it wasn't me. Because I would have kept going, right? He never said, the guy finally was like, okay, look, I've made my point. And he said, we will do stuff to get our externals to make our insides feel good, right? And we don't love ourselves. And it was like wind whipping through me. And then he told his story a little bit about how that we're set up for drugs and alcohol beforehand, right? It's not marijuana as a gateway drug. Childhood trauma is.
Yeah.
And some of us have a hereditary stuff with mental health and substance use in our families, and that creates a different set of shame. But also, when drugs and alcohol hit, it works, right? And it cleans up all that lack of talking about self-esteem earlier. I don't love myself enough. Right?
Yeah.
And this journey is really about just getting to know me, getting to love me, and then getting out of my way, right? The miracle's not that I stayed sober all these years. The miracle is I occasionally stop thinking about myself and actually show up for somebody else, right? In a non-judgmental, not trying to fix them, not with a preconceived notion of what I'm going to get, but just sharing space with somebody that I get to connect with you and learn about you, not from what I can get from you or how I feel, just because I want to be connected, right? That's the greatest gift, right? But I got to connect to myself first.
Yeah. You think that, well, I'll ask that question in a minute. I think that understanding, I think on-site helped me understand this and a little different about an exercise, but, you know, in recovery, sometimes we do this thing like the circle and triangle deal where do you fit on the circle and triangle? Like, are you in recovery? Are you in the fellowship? Are you in service? You know, where are you at? Like kind of a check-in, you know? But I think when I went there, they did this thing of like kind of check-in like with yourself, others, and God, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of an experiential experience. I'm not going to tell them their secrets.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. But, you know, having a relationship, there's been times in my life where I've had a great relationship with myself, but not a great relationship with others, or I've had a great relationship with myself, but God, I'm kind of, And then there's been periods of my life where this is more true. I have a great relationship with God. Like this is more often. I have a great relationship with others, but I don't have a great relationship with myself. Mm-hmm. I'm doing too much. I'm pouring into other people too much. Then I wake up one day and I'm empty.
Yeah.
You know, and that, I think that comes from learned behavior in recovery and like who my sponsor was and how he operated and mimicking that behavior. And then, I think it's a good thing, bad thing, but you know, my first sponsor relapsed and I had to really understand what was him and what is in that book. What is the fellowship? Like what's the difference, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to go back like to the drawing board, like, because not to like pinpoint his failure, but like just to understand like what is it for me, you know? Like do I have to operate in the way that he was asking me to operate? Is that healthy for me? And I learned it wasn't healthy for me, you know? It kept me sober.
Yeah. There are a lot of things we tell people in meetings that'll keep them sober that isn't healthy for them.
That isn't healthy for them.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'll do them, and they work sometimes, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And
I mean, 90 and 90 is a great idea, and it
phenomenal.
And it's effective, and it's proven effective.
Yeah.
But you have 2 jobs and a family, and now you got to make 90 and 90. I mean, is it healthy? I mean,
yeah. And if I'm going to a meeting every night and I don't know my kids and I haven't been to their events and,
correct.
You know, what am I doing? You know, I've just replaced. And God bless some of the guys that go to meetings every night. I loved that first year or two where I had the freedom to, I had nothing going on, right? Yeah. Meetings and after the meeting.
I was passive aggressive to other people.
Right. Like, you only come here 5 nights a week.
you know, this is the meeting. Like we meet here every 8 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Incredibly judgmental, right? So yeah, I get a little bit of something. I get judgmental. I love that. Where am I with those three things? I think connection with all those is the secret to all this. We say all the time we suffer in isolation, but we heal in connection and community. But that connection is not just the community, the fellowship. This kind of this process. If I quit drinking, my life gets way better, right? I just quit hitting myself in the head with a hammer, and then I get around people and I go. I mean, people tolerated me before, but did I really enjoy a fellowship? I mean, I had moments, but for the most part, this is fantastic, right? And at least at the end, I wasn't invited a whole lot of places. So, but when I start doing that spiritual work in the steps, then I've taken that to the next thing. But I've got to balance all those three things. And I've had a lot of seasons of recovery in different ways. I've been mad at AA. I've gone to NA for a while. I've gone, and it's all okay, right?
Yeah.
I've gone to the program you mentioned and a couple others at various points because I work too hard, or my relationship's not going well, or whatever else. It always comes back to me. And how do I find balance and find that real connection on what's important? And I told you earlier that I had a long-term sponsor who talked about fear and love, which I absolutely believe. I've got this wonderful guy who's out in California who asked me about mission and margin. What's your mission? Right? I'm supposed to stay sober and help the next person. And or am I focused on margin? Right? And margin is not just financial margin, but just, am I looking for service opportunities, or I'm looking for opportunities for people to go, hey, look what you did. Right? And if real service is, I don't tell anybody. Real service is I go do something, not for the external validation, which is a whole drug of itself, right? But for just the beauty of I care about somebody in this moment, right? I'm so grateful. I want to do this for somebody else. And when that occurs for me, it's beautiful, right? But if I'm chasing the external, I know immediately. Right? And I've gotten myself in all well-intentioned ways because I was, if I'd gotten honest, I'm probably focused on the external validation and not on the spiritual process of showing up for somebody else or doing the next right thing.
I read this book. It's called, I read the book and did kind of what I asked, but it's called Awareness by Anthony DeMello.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this new sponsor, and I go into the office where he worked, and he was a therapist for a treatment center. And it's not really why I picked him. I got along with him really well, and I felt like we spoke the same language. And, so I was in there, and I was acting like a jackass and reading out the book. And I was fucking with him, honestly. And he asked me something one day that, what did he ask me? He goes, Matt, have you ever done anything mindless activity and just enjoyed it? And I was like, that has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now, But he goes, I'm about to say TV, and he goes, no, you can't say TV. And he goes, I want you to go get this book, and I want you to read it. And I go, okay, cool. And I'm like, two things about me, like as a sponsee, is like I'm on it, and I experience it. Like it's not something I'm writing on a piece of paper. It's something that is happening to me and with me, So I go get the book, and I go to the library, and I read 35 pages, and I message him, and I say, I don't like you, I don't like this book, and I don't like anything it stands for, and I don't even like your family. I just, And he was like, number one, like you left my office an hour ago. Like, why are you checking this box so fast? I don't even think he was my sponsor then, but I was like, I seriously don't like you. But the first part of this book is the first portion of the book is you're selfish no matter what.
Yeah, selfish, self-centered fear is the core.
In general, everybody.
Yeah, everybody is, but we don't have the market cornered.
But we top the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't, like even in my most altruistic moments, a part of me, it's about me, I want to look good. I want to, whatever. I want to help this person. I want gratification from this. I want, maybe not gratification from them, but I want my friends to see, or, you know, like I want 2 years down the road for that person to accolade me to their success or whatever it is, you know. But in that moment I was thinking, I just do it because I do it, you know?
Yeah. I don't like you, Matt. I don't like your family. I don't like this podcast. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I've done a lot of stuff, really well-meaning stuff. Sometimes altruistically, sometimes for external stuff. External validation's a drug to me. I'm totally performance-based, right? If you tell me, hey, do these, oh yeah, right, I'm going to do it, check the box, totally miss the point of everything, right? Oh, go be quiet and, you know, find your soul. Okay, cool, I did it. Give me the next task, right? And I miss out on some stuff. I had a neat experience where I was struggling, and I was like, hey, God, you know, give me a sign. And I walked into the Opry Hills Mall, and there was a sign that said, be still and know, right? And then the rest of the verse is that I am God, which is also a message to me that I'm not, right? So just be still and know. And the whole focus of my recovery when I'm on the beam is be still and know, because I'm terrible at it. And I've spent a lot of my recovery, a lot of my adult life doing stuff that's amazing, right? When I drank and used, I always had the best stories, right? If I came to school, I had, oh man, we did this, we did that. In recovery, I just did it, right? I just told you, oh man, I've only got 5 NBA stadiums I need, like, cool, like me more, right? Or, hey, I've been to a meeting at every kind of, like, I've got this incredible life, which I forget sometimes how amazing it is, and it's a gift. And then I look at, oh, I did this, right? Not I just showed up. And I'm in a season in my life where I'm not retiring or any of this. I'm doing things more quietly. I'm also at home more. I go to the same meeting almost every morning that I used to judge people at, right? And it's beautiful and it's amazing. And there's a quietness and stillness to my life that I never wanted before. Still not sure that I want it. I love excitement and big things and, hey, look at this. But that's where my real recovery is. You were talking about, you know, what was my treatment experience? They told me to get a hobby. I'd never stay sober if I didn't get a hobby. Okay. I never had a hobby. Like, my hobby is basically people, you know. And the idea that I'd sit in a woodworking thing, or, I mean, whatever hobbies old dudes have. Like
woodworking would be mine also.
I'm going to start fishing, you know, whatever that, you know, sounds cool, I guess. You know, I can't sit still long enough.
Sounds incredibly boring.
Yeah, I don't want to be bored, man. I didn't want to be bored, and I thought I was having fun. I was uncomfortable with how I felt internally, and the best way I could describe that to you in recovery and prior to recovery was I'm bored. And if I'm bored, I got to go find some external something to make my insides feel good, to get whatever the dopamine hit or whatever else, right? And the secret to all this is to slow down and go, I'm okay. I can still do those things, right? You know, I travel with the Grateful Dead sober to be able to tell you that I travel with the Grateful Dead sober, right? I mean, it was okay. I wasn't, you know, I sold T-shirts, had a great time. There was a meeting, but I've done kind of these goofy things because people told me I couldn't, right? I went to college. That's a whole weird story how I got there, but I joined a fraternity because I was bound and determined to be the sober guy in the fraternity because you guys told me it was a bad idea, right? I lived with a drug dealer when I first got clean, right? Because you can't tell me what to do, right? And then I go, it is a terrible idea. My clothes keep getting stolen, right? So I'm sober because of grace, right? And I never gave up on the surrender in the first step. And then I got in enough pain to do some stuff to do the other work. And then that happens in layers. And you talk about the layers of the onion or whatever, some metaphor. But, you know, what always impressed me about you is you're constantly continuing to do the work, right? Hey, this is the book I read.
Yeah.
Read the 30, you know, blah, blah, blah. And that's the beauty of this, right? We get to continue to get to know ourselves and to be of better service to others.
I think some of the stuff that you say, okay, well, in some ways, like, okay, I've been to every NBA thing besides 5 or whatever. Like, that's.
And I'm knocking out the 5 this year. Next
I know
year.
you are.
Yeah, I'm like checking boxes, baby.
But like, that's what you do. This is what I do. Like, it's the same thing sometimes. Sometimes I'm doing it out of. There's been times I've always got something out of it, but there's been times my motives for spiritual growth, emotional growth, mental health growth is because I don't know how to sit still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I've learned that, like you were talking about hobbies, which I guess you didn't really say you ever got one, but
I did.
You just move them around. But
yeah, I don't have one.
This is the only thing, the podcast is the only thing I have a little over a decade, you know, and this is the only thing I've ever done that's a hobby that costs me money.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think hobbies cost you money.
They should.
Because
yeah.
I want to make money on everything I touch.
I'm addicted to starting businesses.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's my hobby. So I like this.
I'll start a business for you, Matt, if you want.
I
don't really want to run the business. I just want to start.
We'll start one right now.
Here you go. Here, I got 5.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I'll create the LLC right now. Yeah, I got a problem.
Yeah,
yeah. But I think I bought a boat that cost me money. I enjoy that. That's something that I like got to a place in life where I was like, I don't want to do whatever, go to basketball games or like, I don't want to have this thing. These things don't engage me. The water sports is where I disappear. That's where I flow state. That's where I'm at. That's where I don't even like driving the boat. I need a boat driver, but, you know, that and then this, and this was 2 purposes for me, the hobby, but like, there's people in my life that I've met that I go, man, I wish like the world could meet them, you know, tons of times. Sometimes it's hard to capture that in people. Mm-hmm. Some of the funniest, most cool people, you put them on camera and they're like, you know, you just can't get it sometimes. And then the other portion was like that. I want to be able to like, I enjoy this. Like, this is a hobby of mine. Mm-hmm. Like breaking bread, going to eat, going to lunch, talking, like just, yeah. So I was like, well, why not just put it on camera? You know? Yeah. I've actually thought about eating, like as a concept.
Comedians in cars drinking coffee or
for this, like eating this. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I've thought of weird, you know, take your shirt off. Let's get it going, Matt.
Yeah, what's the comedian? Bert, what's his name?
Bert Kreischer.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, somebody messed me up by telling me that, because we struggle with this at my household, is I love to travel. And I love to travel. Love going places, love exploring. I want to learn more about something.
You love the travel in general?
I love travel.
You love going somewhere and being there?
Yeah, no, it's the second reason I hate you. Because I'm terrible at vacationing. I can't vacation. I love going to the beach and I love playing in the ocean for about 3 hours.
Okay.
I can't, you know, a week-long vacation, I'm out of my mind, right?
Okay.
I can't sit still.
You need to work at Delta, okay? So you can get so you can go to lunch in like Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I would love.
You would love that.
I used to take 1-day trips all the time. I love figuring out where flights are. I like, you know, organizing stuff and picking hotels and blah blah blah. And I love to travel. I love to explore. I love to move and see something new and do something and experience. I don't like sitting somewhere on a vacation.
You like traveling. You just don't like sediment vacations.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Right. And I can't fish. I like the idea of fishing.
Me neither.
Can't sit still. Right. And that's okay. I mean, part of it is coming to terms with this is just how I'm wired.
Yeah.
Right. It took me a long time to figure out I love starting treatment centers. I hate running them. You know, I can do it for a while and get it going, and then my shelf life ends at some point, and either we're going to open a bunch of new more, right? Yeah. Or, you know, I'm going to get bored and, you know, figure out what the next thing I want to do is.
I think I learned that's about myself,
and that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I just need to know that and not judge it.
Well, you also don't want to, okay, vacationing looks like XYZ. This is what everybody thinks. So I'm going to go down there to Panama City and I'm going to sit on the beach and I'm going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't like the vacation. Well, that's not true. I just don't like that type of vacation. Yeah. I want to go, for me, I want to go like to the mountains and hike, or I want to experience like a day trip somewhere. I could probably do in certain places, I could probably like stay a month, get a short-term rental and like stay a month with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm hanging out and doing stuff and there's got to be enough stuff
stimulation
going
and stuff.
on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the idea, like, I don't want my phone. I just want to be, I struggle with that. I want to grow in that area because I still want to be still and know. Mm-hmm. Right. And when I'm able to do that, that's where real peace and ease happen. And I've experienced it. It's amazing, but I want to do that out of joy, not out of brokenness. And I've had, life will knock you down if you don't pay attention. So I've gotten knocked down a couple of times and then gone, oh, maybe I should meditate in the morning or go, go be quiet for a while and heal. But having a life of that and trying to incorporate that has been kind of my new edge. And I'm talking about it like it's a box I'm checking. Oh, man, check this out, man. I'm super, super serene now. I did these 5 things. But, I think just recovery comes in waves.
It does.
And, let me see. Okay, I learned that. That was good. Hey, there's this struggle.
It seems like when we catch that wave and we learn something, it's like, it's out of brokenness. This is what I learned. Maybe this isn't affected like true in your life, but in my life, like, okay, first year, get sober. Mm-hmm. Kissing babies, shaking hands. I mean, I'm
great,
flying.
Didn't work a 4th step the first year. I was so happy. Right?
I get to this place in year 2, 3. For me, it was 2. Mm-hmm. And I end up dead and broken. And I have to go back to God and say, hey, listen, man, practically, I mean, I didn't really understand this is what I was doing at the time. Hey, I've been running my life and I need you to take back control.
Yeah, I got to let go. Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
And then I learned the 3rd time it happened, let's say year 3. Well, when I learned that thing and I have this experience with God, it feels like it's great. I'm in a surrendered state. I'm always at the bottom, but it seems like on the climb up, I'm good. But then my ego takes control. And what I've learned is Richard Rohr has this book. It's called Falling Upward.
Love Richard Rohr, yeah.
But the concept is kind of, I had already identified the concept. So when I read the book, I was like, dang, that's, but pretty much falling into the surrendered state, like being with God instead of like living on ego, like, because we're so afraid we're going to fall apart and break. And, well, what if he does have control? But I've learned to kind of like, it was kind of like big, but I've learned to like, fall into it a little more and be like, it's always me running the show. That's always the problem.
Always
the problem. Always the problem. I wish it wasn't.
Yeah. And it shows up in new and different ways all the time.
New and different ways.
Like, oh, hey, I can do this work thing. Or, hey, I can do this recovery. Oh, I'm doing it great. I'm doing extra great. Yeah. Amazingly great. Like, oh, shit, I forgot about all this other stuff. Or I lost track of why I was doing it.
Yes.
Or I'm mad at the world. They owe me this, so I'm going to go do this over here. My sponsor was talking to me about professional gamblers. So professional poker players, everybody can make money on a good hand, mm-hmm. but the guys that are really good make money on losing hands. And in recovery, we tend to make our money on our losing hands. That when we have losing, what did I do with that? Did I turn that into a winner? Right? Yeah. I thought my marriage was over. I had a marriage that was over. A bunch of bald, gray-haired men talking about their ex-wives. I went through that. That was an incredible period of growth for me. That was that year, that first year of that was amazing. I don't want to ever relive that, but it allowed me to get broken enough to go, let me take a look at myself. Let me actually make some changes and take responsibility for my side of the street and not continually distract myself. I ended up in a, yeah, go ahead.
How'd that go? Because I'm at this place in my life. So
yeah,
I want to like.
The the guy that told me to love and fear, what is your motivation, told me not to get in a relationship for a year. Okay. The best advice I ever had.
I hate that advice.
Yeah, me too.
Did you follow the advice?
I did for about 10 months. And then, I had a bunch of disastrous, bad decisions. But I shouldn't have been in a relationship with anybody because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I had no clue. And I didn't know who I was absent that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I was a single parent and I needed to show up for my kid. And I got to know who I was. I went to therapy for the first time. I didn't believe in therapy, despite the fact I was teaching people how to be therapists, which is, talk about self-will run riot and grandiosity, right? So, that was, recovery-wise, a really great year. I probably went to more meetings then than I ever had and did more recovery stuff. I was also really lonely. Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of that out of that brokenness of not feeling connected. I'm coming home and, I've spent a lot of time not trying not to be at home, and then got real comfortable being in an empty house. That took a minute. And then just finding out what I wanted to do, go create a life that then adds somebody else into it because I'm having fun, not chasing somebody to feel externally validated. So
yeah, I think for me, like my experience through this process is like, I know like deep down it's like, okay, so deep down about 2 years ago, I unchained myself from floor of recovery room, and I really like learned to love myself. And during that process, I overjudged the situation, overcommitted. I ended up like pretty much taking control of my life and living like very well for myself. But some of the other things, and my family, like I was really focused on my family during that time. And what happened is I woke up one day and I was kind of empty, and I didn't really realize I was running the show. And I got this sponsor, and he helped me realize I was running the show again. And like during that, I was in therapy the entire time. But what was going on in my life is like, I started making like really, really healthy moves in my life. And there was like a portion of my life where my life was becoming more and more healthy, emotionally, spiritually, my recovery process, my family, and internally. And, during that process, my therapist was challenging me to, what they always do. They challenge you to be vulnerable and show up. And I was really fearful of that situation because I'm codependent, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable around me. I want everything to be smooth,
Yeah, because you got to like me.
Yeah, because you got to like me, yeah. And I placed a lot of validation, really the only validation in my life, on my partner. Validating, like, if she's okay with me, then I'm okay. Anybody else, I don't give a shit, But there was stuff going on in our life. So at some point, like I just kind of stood up and was like, hey, I was like vulnerable and honest around what was going on. And I started like setting boundaries, and that did not go so well. And pretty much all my fear came true, So, I mean, if I'm going to set the boundary, I got to be prepared for the consequences, So in totality, like that's what happened in my life. And during that process afterwards, I've made myself like, I did not fall into work. I've only took care of myself during the whole process. I've done what I needed to do in recovery and like sponsorship, picking up new sponsees, because I know that it's a weird portion of my life. I've kept my therapist. I've done other forms of therapy to like release trauma, like somatic therapy and all types of stuff. I went to on-site, spent a bunch of money, but then like everybody in my life is like, you need to take a year, you need to wait. Some people don't. I mean, I have a really gauge between my life. It's like,
that was just my experience. I know. I have no idea what you need to do.
I know, but like, I'm not like saying you're saying that.
Yeah.
But like I have regular friends, like normal people. That's different for me. I have AAs. I have like religious people that are in religious arenas. I have therapists that are actual friends. I have people that are professional in this, you know. And there's a plethora of like people with advice. And I've recently got to a place where I've just like, what I figured out was being very aware of my codependency is like, which is really at Onsite. I like, when they started reading that codependency shit, I was like, ooh, please get it out of here.
That laundry list thing is a shot to the gut. Yeah.
So I really realized that like, okay, I set up boundaries around this one person. Then what I realized is like, well, I'm also trying to like make sure these people like me and all these people are okay with my life and what I'm doing. And I recently have got to this place where I'm just like, I know what I need to do and how I feel in the work that I've done. And what I do with my life or my dating life is my business. You don't live with me. And if you can love me now and love me at the end, then you can be in my life. And if not, I don't give a shit. Like, but that's a new me, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I just feel like that I felt from the original, like really early, like that I can date and be okay as long as I'm not hurting people. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know myself. I don't know who I want. I don't know who I'm going to date.
Yeah, and I did some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. You said at 10 months you started dating and made some mistakes. And
well, yeah, and it was no relationships was his rule.
You were just dating.
Hung out with some people. But
I mean, you see something in somebody, maybe you go on a date with them or you're hanging around with them and you go, that behavior there, I don't want that in the next one and I don't want that in this one, you know?
Yeah, so for those of us that struggle with worth, maybe, you mentioned it earlier, I certainly did. I didn't know I was the prize. No clue.
Well, we might be opposite there, buddy.
No idea. Well, I mean, in a grandiose way, I knew I was the shit. Does it make any sense? But I didn't know I was the prize, right? Yeah. Like, if I could make you feel this way or I can show up this way, like I'm pretty full of myself, right? But deep down in my quiet moments, I'm not always sure. And at that point in my life, I wasn't.
Okay.
Right. If you really, I'm cool and you're blah, blah, blah. If you really knew me, particularly at that level in an intimate relationship, I had to know who I truly was and not play a role.
Okay.
I'm really good at getting people to like me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how can I show up and figure out if I like them?
Did you find yourself, or could you have found yourself like trying to chase or like show up in a certain way? Like you're trying to like, well, I'm going to date this person, but I'm going to like manipulate the situation, or I'm going to show up in a certain way. I'm going to, instead of being like, I'm the prize and like they can come find me.
Yeah.
And I'm available.
Yeah. And that's, or, hey, I'm not going to look at this, right? Oh, you're amazing, but we're going to discount that part. Right?
Okay.
But also know that I'm worth that, right? We coach women on that constantly. Our society does. Oh, you're know your value. We don't tell men that as much.
No.
Right? Because we're mostly full of ourselves, right? And we've got to go out and ask people out, et cetera, even with dating apps or whatever else. But the reality is I had to spend some time and just figure out that I had value just because I did, not because of anything I'd done or not because of this or that. And are you attracted to this stuff, or do you really want to get to know me? But I had to get some space away from just the noise in my head to do that. And that was helpful.
When was this?
So I got remarried in 2003. So
that was what,
were you alive
years
then?
ago?
Yeah, you were alive then, right? Yeah. So and my current, I never want to say current wife. I'm so sorry if my wife hears this. The beautiful, amazing woman that I'm married to today. We've probably had 5 different marriages, right? Just like there's seasons in recovery. We've had, we've almost ended things a couple times, right? And then come back together or done. But I think, do you want to, is somebody able to grow with you?
Yeah.
Right. And am I committed to this? Am I committed to a path of growth? Because the person I was 23 years ago is not the person I am today.
Yeah.
The person I was 3 years ago isn't the person I am today. Am I committed to the struggle?
I think
do an entire podcast on relationships and marriages for dudes. It's
I think I just know deep down that, like, I mean, I express myself around it too, but like, I just know deep down, like, an unhealthy version of me 3 years ago would not be in the situation. And it's exterior, like, it looks like shit. But I know that it's because I became healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The healthiest I've been at I'm at this retreat for a week and I'm crying my eyes out. I look like a mess, right? And every garbage thing that I think about myself is sitting right here, but I'm also dealing with it, right? And that's the healthiest I'm gonna be, because as soon as I get home, I go, let me pick up my phone, turn on the TV, and get some external gratification somewhere, rather than just let me be, right? The health that year I was pretty healthy, but I was also real aware of my deficits and things that I was working on. I had to get over the anger at myself, right? Why did I do this for as long as I did? And then I had to get kind of clean the deck and clear the deck. Just go, where am I headed?
There's been like, how long were y'all together? The defendant?
The defendant. Yeah, God bless her. Our son together just got married, and we were able to do that together, and it was kind of cool.
Together, like y'all showed up, or y'all like actually planned and did it?
We showed up together. I mean, I don't want to stretch the truth, right?
I was just making sure, like, y'all were
thanks for the clarification.
Planning the wedding together.
No,
I mean, it's possible, I guess.
It is possible.
Yeah.
It's not where. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not a martyr, right? So it was 6 or 7 years. We started dating in college, and then we were together. We do that. Yeah, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. It was a while.
I think like
I like to minimize it. So
it's like
thank you for that clarification.
2 or a few years.
Go 2 or week and a half, maybe. I don't know.
It's been. I can say this: like, grieving the process is harder than any death I've ever grieved, because it's like I'm grieving something that I see in the pickup line at school. I'm grieving something that I'm co-parenting with on a daily basis, that I'm arguing with. Like, it's crazy. It's not normal. It's a weird situation.
It's a very odd situation, and I'm sharing the most precious thing in my life with somebody that I'm in a strangle argument with.
I trust
some of the time. Yeah,
I trust that part of it.
I did, but it was also like, oh, this is going there, right? I'm mad that you've got my favorite blanket or whatever else, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly I'm sending my.
About 3 years ago, the D word had came into our household, and I had said, I think it happened twice. She said it twice, and I go, if you ever say it again, we're gonna drive to the courthouse. Like, don't bring that shit in our house. Like, this is just speaking negativity, and we both believe like words have power and like manifestation. We believe in that shit, So she had said it. I said, let's go to the courthouse. So I drove. I said, she said, I'll meet you in town. I go to Home Depot, and I'm waiting on her, and I have this visceral response, and I couldn't do it because my son was around the same age. My parents got divorced, and I just couldn't do it. But I'm okay with it now. Like, I understand I'm not my father. He's not me. She's not her. And we don't have to, the experience doesn't have to be the same as it was for me. I was weaponized and fully informed, and it was not a good employed as a spy, and like all types of weird shit. So that's not who I am, and that's not who he is. And like, I'm okay with like, I've spent every day with this human being, hugging him, playing with him, and like being his best friend practically. I mean, and he's gone for a week, But it hasn't affected me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
He's okay. I'm okay.
And you've got time to be by yourself, which is a whole skill set. So.
Well, I have my prior daughter with me all the time, and like there's been times I've gone to her room and I'm like, I am glad you're here. You know?
Right.
Yeah. But there's been times she's been gone and he's been gone. So I haven't really experienced the
empty apartment kind of. Yeah.
I've experienced it a few times and I go, I need supervision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not because I'm going to do something crazy. I just say, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah. And I'll hand over my will and life over to another human. Yeah. Right. Oh, this is the way we do the dishes. This is the way we, organize the refrigerator. And I'm like, I don't want to do it that way. Right. So, there's some freedom in that stuff too. But it's,
there has been like in my home, there's been more, everything moves slower. Everything's calmer. Everything's less messy. Everything is,
you got peace.
It's peace. Yeah. Nobody's yelling. Yeah. There hasn't been one cuss word. There's been cuss words in my house because we cuss, but there's never been any like yelling in 5-6 months, and that's worth it.
The emotional volume is
way down. Yeah. But, I think I do understand, like, to me, like, I was a great husband emotionally. I carry the weight of being a household partner, and like, I really wanted to be a really good husband, But I think that doing it all on my own, I mean, I was acknowledging y'all are fucking this house up, and then y'all can clean it up. Like, you and her and them, and like, I'm using one fork, and I barely use it, But, and I'm able to like pull that down being in control of my own home because we move, the footprint's way lower, in general. And I move with my daughter. She kind of moves like I do, We don't even turn the lights on because we got to turn them off, Like, we're not opening windows because we got to close it.
Efficient.
Yeah, we're highly efficient. But I one of my mistakes is like, as a household, I thought I help when I can. The outside of the home is mine. The inside of the home, like actual, like the outside, like the grass and the garage, and and the inside. If I see the trash, I'll take it. But I have learned if I ever get in a partnership, even though I feel like it's an unfair thing, I feel like I'm doing it now. Why wouldn't I do it then? Like, okay, I'll just clean the toilet because I clean the toilet. Or I'll do the dishes because I do the dishes. As long as like I'm not being just shit on all the time. But I did learn that I could show up in a manner that's saying, hey, I would like to do this for you. I know you're doing it every day, or I know you're, just wake up and I clean everything for you one day. It's not that big of a deal for me. I just, at the time, feel like I'm already in an unequally division of labor, is how I felt, But I have a lot of time in my life. I have a lot of availability to do things like that, So,
yeah, we attach meaning to things that may not necessarily have that meaning. After I got over the anger, it took me a while to go, okay, what's my side of the street? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not perfect. Yeah. Crap, I did blah, 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 blah. And I didn't show up, or I was too comfortable not showing up. I'm real comfortable not showing up. Right?
Like working a lot, being
just gone.
Recovery, not being present.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that for the first 5-6 years of a relationship, and I can own that, and I can own I could still do that. But like first 5-6 years, I was operating out of fear, and I was afraid. I had never touched sobriety in my life, and I felt like I owed AA, and I knew like if I lose my recovery, then I lose everything that's below it, And I just kind of lived in that space, and I was also trying to drag us out of poverty, and yeah. So like it was,
you crushed it, right?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
Yeah, but what were the consequences of that?
Right.
Yeah.
And we say, oh, this is a successful marriage, and we used to put people in the paper that had 50 or 60 years of marriage. Man, I don't want those marriages.
No.
Right? I want to be a successful marriage measured on how much love is in the household, how much.
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's not, we both didn't die, and,
Or kill each other.
We did kill each other, and we stayed married, right? I mean, there are lots of, lots of those examples. But, what is a successful marriage? What does that look like, right? And part of it's being real, and it's messy, and it's.
I mean, how does it feel? This is where I had to get to around. I think I had an epiphany. It's like, how does it feel to go, you're my partner, and I go, you're number two, no matter what. You fall number two. Deal with it. And like, that's what I was doing pretty much, and it was based out of fear, and I was fear I wasn't going to lose what I had, and that was an untrue thought process. And, I had to really dig myself out of that.
At least you're aware of it. A lot of us run around, including me,
going,
no, you're my partner. We're both number one. And I'm going, we'll look at my time management. Like, look, where's my energy going?
Yeah.
You deserve better than this. So.
Yeah. I try to dig myself out of it, but I think some of the damage was done. And then maybe she wanted payback or something, kind of, possibly. I don't know.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. It's hard for me.
We start reading people's minds. We're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble. Yeah. We're in trouble.
It's, let me just show up and be without judgment, right? How can I be of service?
Earlier you were talking about the gateway drug is trauma. And then you kind of hinted around, you think some of us are born with it. I was going to ask you around the question of like addiction or alcoholism.
Yeah. What do I think? I think we have the propensity for it. We have a genetic predisposition.
So nature.
Yeah. I mean, I think, was I going to grow up screwy? Probably. Doesn't make any sense for lack of a good technical clinical term.
Something was going to happen.
Screw loose. 100%. When I touched drugs and alcohol, my life changed in ways that, you just know. It clicked.
Yeah.
Boom. So I believe for me, right, that happened that way. There's certainly people that drank normally for a while, and then something happened, and then it changed.
Yeah, like a traumatic event.
Like a traumatic event, a lifestyle change, and a relationship, whatever that is. Does that make sense? And they're just as alcoholic or just as addicted. They used to call them alpha and beta in research. And,
that makes sense.
Yeah. It's sort of one's male dominated, right? That there's this genetic predisposition. It runs along with antisocial behavior sometimes, but for me it was probably that. And looking at my family history, it was probably that. How I got it, who cares? I'm so grateful
that you got it.
I'm so grateful.
I'm grateful I got it too.
So grateful. And I used to hate people that would say that, like, who are you trying to impress? My entire life is built on the fact that I got sober.
Me too.
And
I would, if I didn't have this, the act of non-surrender to a higher power would have been outrageous, and I would be, you wouldn't want to be sitting near me.
No.
Because Matt, without a problem, Matt doesn't surrender ever, and Matt is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. Who knows what my life would have been like, right? I don't know that who knows? Makes sense. I mean, I've lost a lot of people in my life, but would that be the outcome? I don't know. Not without recovery. I know what me without recovery looks like, right? I've got lots of examples of that in my life, but me without alcoholism or addiction, what does that look like? Who knows, right? Is that prison of mental health issues, or, is it grandiosity run amok?
Is schizophrenia, you can get early and late onset schizophrenia based around a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Is schizophrenia alpha, beta?
Oh, is it? Yeah, there's definitely a genetic predisposition for that. We know that. We know very little about schizophrenia as compared to some other things. We know there's some medications that
kind of work.
Lock it down a little bit, but
I think we should just listen. My neighbor growing up, he was schizophrenic, and I honestly, I do really well with them. It's weird. But I think we should just give them Rhode Island and let them burn shit and have fun, dude. Like, they love burning shit and just getting wild, and like, they love burning shit.
They worked at a place we used to say that was the CIA retirement home because everybody had worked in the CIA and or had been visited by space aliens, right? So it's man, I don't know. We don't know a lot about that. It's kind of like somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's. You just kind of roll with it.
Aren't they connected? Dementia, Alzheimer's, or one of them, and schizophrenia. Isn't it the same?
It might be. Yeah.
I think it is.
My mom is struggling a little bit, and she was talking about this wonderful. They live in Gainesville, Florida. This wonderful donut place. It's one of a kind. You guys got to go, and it's amazing. And they put up a sign on the window that says "Donuts are ready right now," and just to let everybody know when they're hot.
Okay.
And I'm like, sounds amazing. And then she couldn't remember the name of it, but it was, it's crunchy or something.
Yeah.
You're talking about Krispy Kreme. So my kids and I went and got Krispy Kreme donuts. We got some hats and took them back to her. And she continued to talk about how wonderful this, she's so grateful that we had the opportunity to go to this one-off donut shop. But I think sometimes with folks that have schizophrenia, and it sounds weird to say, I've just enjoyed meeting where they're at.
I have too.
You're only going to talk in lyrics from.
Great. Wonderful.
Cool. Like,
you're only going to write on the paper this way?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. Or just in a circle or, all the, different letters, a different marker or different color. Cool. I mean, have at it. And let me just meet you where you are.
One thing I've learned about them is, sometimes I've took them into sober living, and everybody hates me, and it's okay. And they'll go, every time they go, there's got to be a place for these people. And I'm like, there's not. Let's get in the car. I'll go show you a place where they're taking their check and they're pissing on the floor, and like it's bad. And what I have learned is direct communication with a list, and I don't treat them as like a drug addict. I don't really put drug addicts and alcoholics in a box. Like, you won't live here if you don't do. It seems really, I don't do that. There's standards to live here, and you agreed to them, but like external extra shit. But like, I've learned with them, like, sit down with them, look them in the eye, get a piece of paper, go get a pen. Can you go get a pen? And they get a pen, and like, I go, write number 1. You go, job by Friday, and then do my chore every day, and they go, and then another thing, and you have to make your mental health appointment. Write it down every week, Friday, and they can write it down. And for some reason, that seems to be an effective model.
You treat them like adults.
Treating them like adults.
And you're talking to them and not their diagnosis. And I think the mistake we make oftentimes is we go, oh, you got schizophrenia.
Like they can't do it. They can't handle it. Yeah.
And we talk about people while they're in the room. Right? We talk about their limitations. And we don't give them the respect of, you still have the same needs. Right? You still have the one. And the sense of belonging. So a couple of different times in my life, we've purchased recovery houses, and oftentimes there's somebody who's been there like 3 years, and you're like, why is Billy here? Well, and he gets a check, and he's, blah, blah, blah. And more times than not is because they have schizophrenia or something closely related as a thought disorder.
Yeah.
And the reality is there are very few places, and that person has probably never functioned better in their life because they're a part of something.
Yeah.
And that the loneliness that disease imparts for folks is awful. The disconnect and the fact that it comes on oftentimes like age 19 or 20, where, I had a normal life and then I didn't. It's if you've ever seen Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
There's
a great movie.
Place I worked as a college student. There was a guy who'd been at the same school, and he had a life better than I had ever dreamed of as a college student. And then it just one day, he's naked in the courtyard and thinks the aliens are after him. And they, he's spent the next 10 years in a group home with all the joys you talked about. So, yeah. Thank God, right? So, and I think creating programs for folks, that really creates community in a real way. The clubhouse models and structured workshops and so on exist, but they're really hit and miss.
I think that we're at an age in life where mental health and addiction services is at an all-time high, and being at an awareness of mental health, like at a therapeutic level, is at an all-time high. Like you've been around therapeutic environments and recovery longer than I have, but I can remember being young and like they didn't really use words like
no. So you asked me how treatment was. I got hot seated.
Yeah.
So that meant they put me in that chair in the middle, and everybody got to tee off on me and tell me what was wrong with me. I already knew what was wrong with me. I mean, I didn't. I'm not an idiot, right?
You didn't hear anything you didn't know.
I didn't hear anything I didn't know. And I got a lump in my throat, and I couldn't. I got F you out and F you guys, and I didn't cry, and I was proud of myself for not crying. But that was therapy.
Pretty traumatic.
Yeah, it was horrible, right? But the idea was to break you down, and they were going to build you up. And then I had the counselor go, well, we did this to kind of break you down. And then I gave you a bunch of compliments. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. I thought he was sincere when he told me these things. And I totally discounted everything he told me. Some of it may have been true. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But it was just this awkwardness of how treatment was offered at that point. So,
and I mean, now they're doing, which I don't feel, not to discount any program, but I don't feel that the mental health primary, which is a new thing going on, for the past few years, is a lot of treatment centers are going mental health primary. But I don't feel that it's in a good-hearted place.
Yeah. Because
people that are mental health primary, like really bad mental health stuff, they don't have access to primary mental health programs. Like they don't have good benefits. They might have Medicaid if they've done the due diligence.
Oh, the due diligence, go on disability, might have Medicare. More
maybe.
Likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole, they're absolutely co-occurring disorders. Right?
Yeah.
And 70% of us have something. Almost all of us have trauma.
You got it.
Right?
I don't got it.
Yeah. Thank God for you. Right. So having some mental health awareness is certainly helpful. I think there are people that need mental health more than the addiction piece.
Like depression would, if we could fix his depression, he wouldn't use.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? But if we don't fix his depression, he's going to use.
He's going to use, yeah.
Right. We got to deal with both, right? Yeah. And the depression and the use go hand in hand. Or if I'm bipolar, I'm kind of.
I mean, you're probably around in recovery rooms when. I mean, I wasn't around then, but where
I'm old as shit, man. Yeah.
I'll just keep driving it home.
Pray, don't take I've been in
pray, don't take
medications where people were told not to take their psych meds, that was a using behavior. Like, I'm 100%.
Were you ever?
If I ever participated in that, I probably. Does it make sense? So
somehow,
some way. I mean, I really struggled with Suboxone for a long time, or just Suboxone withdrawal. Like, I remember telling somebody, you just need to go shake and bake, and
shake and bake,
because I was cool, man. Yeah. And just get that out of your system, and just come to some meetings, and I don't know. We are at a very different place, and yet I love recovery. Go back to how we started. I struggle with treatment sometimes. Treatment for mental health done well is amazing, and there's some places that do it great. And there is a huge gap in services that needs to be filled, and oftentimes it's filled by folks that see that as a monetary opportunity.
That's why I won't get involved.
Yeah, well,
not because I don't check. I literally build systems around myself to check myself financially. Like, I don't ever want to make a decision based on finances.
Mission and margin, right?
Yeah.
Go back to Mike.
But you know how many people have sat in front of me and said, let's do this, let's do a treatment center, let's do PHP. And I go, I just don't feel right about it.
Yeah. Taco Bell doesn't serve burgers.
Taco Bell doesn't serve burgers. I think if I could do it and ethically serve the people I want to serve, I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to ethically serve it, you're not going to have the margins that people are enjoying because you have a psychiatrist who's expensive. You have some nurse practitioners. You're providing real services, and the length of time.
The one thing I was like, well, I have the housing. So I was thinking, well, if I could figure out how to operate an office and get a doctor and a nurse practitioner and a therapist, I could do 10 care. Maybe I don't make much money, but I would be able to provide the service, and I have the housing at a long-term rate for a community that I believe needs help, And that might be the only way I ever do it, and that is not a get-rich-quick scheme.
No, there's not a ton of money in that, or a ton of money in 10 care. But the other piece is if you do housing, we just talked about it. They're young guys with schizophrenia who have nowhere to go, the service system is so broken. It makes the worst A&D program look pretty good. And folks are there almost permanently, right? The expectation of somebody having independent living is pretty low.
Yeah.
And what do we do with people? And we've destroyed that service. I mean, we used to have hospitals. Everybody went to the hospital and they just stayed in the state hospital.
Is that even a thing anymore?
No.
I don't think so.
So then we deinstitutionalized everybody, and there were these catchment areas, and every catchment area was required by law to have all these services. Well, those services are gone. So now we just have all these people and
just places for
them. Yeah, many of them live in tents over by the stadium, right? So
yeah,
where do folks go?
And then the group home situation for them, it's like they go in. I mean, from my experience, it's like I'm not gonna say every one of them, but because I don't know. Mm-hmm. But they take their check and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what's your motivation, right? And there's some great group homes, right? Just like there's some great recovery houses, and people are in it for the right reasons. Sometimes people make money doing it for the reasons. Sometimes it's just totally mission. But if you really focus on your margin or how am I going to make money, you're going to squeeze stuff to a incredibly vulnerable population. If you treat people in recovery houses badly, they leave. Right, and they badmouth you to everybody because that's what they do, right? So there's a check on that. But folks with schizophrenia or some other thought disorder,
well, nobody believes them anymore.
Nobody believes them. There's nowhere for them to go. They can't get there anyway, So they're just kind of stuck. And this they are going to know the system better than the operator and know that, it took me 3 months to find this place. So where am I going? Yeah, it's. We're older adults who don't have money. There are 5 or 6 groups of folks that I think our society is failing recently. So anyway, I don't have the solution for that one.
I was counting on you.
I'm sorry. Maybe tomorrow we can create an LLC this week, and
I can create one when we walk out of here.
I know. I already know. I see you.
You know who Phil Herndon is?
Mm-hmm, of course.
I don't know if I was talking to another therapist yesterday about it, and he was like, I think it's a Phil Herndon idea, but I think he told me that some people believe this, like it's not just him, like a group of people. But
the Herndonites are
the Herndonites. No, like I think it's a shared, like it hasn't been proven,
mm-hmm.
but he thinks that I don't think all mental health, but like let's say. What do you call that word? Like depression and anxiety and like it's an N word. I can't think of the word, but pretty much that how EMDR was created, and he kind of goes over this story about how this professor started walking one day really mad, and then she realized that her eyes were moving, but she
bilateral stimulation. Yeah, the flower garden. Yeah,
and then they started kind of like testing with like patting and touching each other, like on the knee, with pencils. But pretty much the thing is that about 50, 60 years ago, we started driving cars and we quit walking.
Mm-hmm.
And the assumption is around this possible theory is that we've quit walking,
quit exercising.
Yep. So now all these mental health things have got worse and worse and worse. It's like our brain doesn't know how to take out the garbage anymore, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty, it makes sense,
It does. And there's some limits to that, but the best intervention for depression is
Exercise.
Best for anxiety is exercise. Best for PTSD is exercise.
I agree.
Or we stop moving, right? And it's not, you don't have to join a gym, right? But you got to move. And, look at the symptoms of depression, are you sleeping? Are you, and then sleep is right behind that, and nutrition is right behind that. And we have a terrible diet, right?
In America,
just full stop. Right? It's not a political statement at all. Okay.
Yeah.
But also we have a terrible diet, but we also make choices based on convenience and not on what's good for me. Right. So I'm eating a ton of carbs and I got high fructose corn syrup and
we're on the phone
and I'm, eating hot dogs from Exxon or whatever else. So, and then I wonder why I'm irritable and discontent or I'm,
and sad. And
the number of hormones that people are on now is outrageous. We're not doing well in what we're putting in our body. We're not sleeping well because of that, and we're then taking medications or do something
to try to reduce the symptoms.
Right, we're constantly chasing symptoms, and we're humans, we're human animals. We're built to walk and do those things, and some of that's our society here, and some of that's larger than just being in a modern world. But we've got to make choices around that. Yeah, and so much. How often am I disconnected from my body because I'm eating poorly, not sleeping, and not taking care of myself? Yeah, for years I would do yoga about once every 6 months and go, "Oh my God, this is amazing! I should do this all the time." And then 6 months later, "Oh my God, why did I do this for years?" Right?
You should just create a mental health residential treatment. We just make them walk every day.
Yeah, there was a program in LA where they ran a marathon.
Really?
That's what you did. You ran the LA Marathon as part of the treatment program. That was the coolest thing ever, right? So, anytime I've been places trying to add an exercise track and try to look at nutrition, but also you got to talk people into eating well. So not everybody wants organic food. So
I think in treatment you eat what you want. Now there's a little bit more. Like it used to be more you go to the cafeteria, you eat in a group, which is I think it's the best model, but now they do like, okay, you're in PHP housing, you get $90, whatever, and then you order the food. This is some of the stuff you could order. It's a little bit different versus we have a kitchen and we're cooking healthy food and you get to sit at a table and talk to somebody about
be served. And I think it's really important for people to eat together. All the fights in recovery houses are you ate my potato chips or you took my wet clothes out of the dryer, right? So that's, if you schedule a time for dryers and just have food. But I think there's something about we're going to all eat together at 6, right? We're going to do this. And a couple times in here locally, I was bound and determined that, we're going to eat in groups of 12 and we're going to make your own food and blah, blah, blah. And some of that made sense and some of that was...
That's a pretty good...
I'm sort of utterly ridiculous, but also...
It's hard to cook for 12 people.
It's hard to cook for 12 people. And oftentimes...
somebody wants spaghetti and
somebody wants to cook everything. But then you create a menu, and a menu's nothing. I stole this from another halfway house in Texas, but a menu's just a set of directions, and we all think we know better, right? No, that's not how my mom made eggs, right? There's a set of just follow the directions, right? No. I like just follow the directions. Just follow the directions, right?
Yeah.
Here's how we're going to do this. Right? We're making smash burgers this, but I don't want a smash burger. I want a regular. Just follow the directions, because it becomes an incredible therapeutic opportunity. So.
I think so too. Yeah,
and particularly for guys, we don't know how to shop anyway, right? So it's
you should see
what's
me
the
shop.
Convenience food, and probably pretty good at this point.
No, I'm like efficient. I'm under $400 or $450 a month, I'm just like feeding, I don't know. It is like you eat whole foods and fruit and like stuff like that. It's cheap. like, it's the meat and the drinks and the snacks that kill you financially.
All the convenience foods.
All the convenience
right?
foods.
And soda. And
I went back to the grocery store because I hadn't really shopped in a long time, So it was like, I thought 12 packs were still $4.90, $3.99, $4.99. No, they're $10. They're $10. I was like, what?
Yeah, you stop drinking soda, you will change both your internal chemistry, but also your pocketbook. So it's been amazing. So very cool.
Man, I really enjoyed our talk today, honestly.
I've enjoyed this too. I'm terrified to look at the clock. I think I missed my next appointment, but
we had 2 hours.
Okay.
Cool, we're at 2 hours. But I have a question I ask every guest, and at the end of the thing, you're going to answer the question. You're going to say, my deepest fear is, and it's based on this poem, which is, we're powerful beyond measure. Our deepest fear is we're powerful beyond measure, and the poem goes on. So that's why.
It's.
So you have time to answer the question, and then when you answer, you'll say, my deepest fear is, and then you answer, and then we're done.
Okay. I'm embarrassed that my deepest fear is that I won't matter. And that popped up in my head first.
Okay.
And I'm being a little bit more transparent than I need to be, but that I want to matter. I want to make a difference. And apparently my greatest fear is that I don't matter, because that's what floated forward. I'd like to believe it's, that I'm not of service to folks, or that I haven't done a good job, or I haven't loved the people close to me well enough. And as we're talking about external validation, so that it clearly is still something for me. I'm terrified of not mattering. And yet I know that I matter just because I am.
Yeah.
And, very good. Appreciate that. Thanks, Matt.
Hey, take that home.
Yeah, go do some work on that.